Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Pop Anime Comics here from PopAnimeComics.com and the Pop Anime Comics Lounge. My Instagram is Pop Anime Comics, and as many people know, and we are on episode 3 of Pop Funko Price Guide, is I love collecting collectibles, including comic books, Pop Funkos, Pokemon cards, Magic cards, and I love sharing that on Instagram. And I just did a major New York Comic Con haul from 2018. And so I figured it's about time that I made a video breaking down the economics of all this stuff. And I figured I would start with Pop Funkos and go through a lot of my collection. And so today's Pop Funko is from the Fall Collection, New York Comic Con 2017. And it's the 8-bit Batman, or Batman Pixelated, as I like to call it. And I like this Pop Funko. It's very cool. It was $15 at GameStop, Fall Convention 2017. GameStop had the share it exclusive with this one. And so it's something that I like a lot. I think it's very cool. It's an interesting version of Batman, and I think it's very different. They had a few of these actually, and they've obviously added more to this line. And so it's 8-bit. I think it's very cool. I like the concept of the 8-bit, line. I think it's retro. I think it's aesthetically nice. Now, the issue with this is that a lot of people wanted it. I said in my last video that sometimes, there's a saying that if everybody wants the same Pop Funko, you're probably on to what is desired and what is valuable to everybody and what everybody is wanting. But this Pop Funko is actually depreciated. So its estimated value is about $11. Which means that its high is maybe 13 and its low is more like 8. So you're looking at an $11 estimated value. And I think part of the reason why this is the way it is there's a lot of Batman Pop Funkos out there. There's Batman Beyond, there's Batman vs. Superman, there's Batman Justice League, there's Pride Batman, and there's 15 other different Batmans, and they all relatively are within 3 years of each other. That they've come out from like 2014 to really 2018. And so that's something that I think really hurts this. And I think it hurts it. I don't think the movies hurt it. I don't think the comics hurt it. Especially the comic book stuff. I mean, the comic book stuff, Scott Snyder did a great job. Tom King, when he took over, did a fantastic job. You got Batman, the Black Label with Batman the Damned. And that's been controversial, and that's only helped Batman. And the Christopher Nolan movies have done really good stuff for Batman, and they made it dark again after the Adam West that took 30 years, which is a whole history. But what I think really hurts this Pop Funko, because I like this Pop Funko, I think this Pop Funko is actually very unique, and I think it's actually way cooler than a traditional Batman. Is because it is that 8-bit. It is that, and obviously it's hard to show the features, but it's like blocky, and that's fun to me. I mean, that's different. That's something that's clever, and I like clever. I like something that's out of the box. Oh, there's a pun there somewhere, but I like that, and I think it's just that there's so much Batman stuff out there, and there's like Kryptonite, Batman and Superman 2-pack, and so when you have this much competition, this doesn't seem so cool anymore. This doesn't seem so desirable. And I think that's the problem with this Pop Funko, is that you got the New York Comic Con exclusive. You have something very unique. And you have an entire line of 8-bit that has come out in Pop Funko. And it's retro. 8-bit, 16-bit. That's video game retro, old school stuff. And even for a new age, a lot of gamers can appreciate the, stuff that's going on here. And so I think that's something to really look at. But it's not scarce. I mean, there's so many Batmans out there that you could pick and choose which Batman Pop Funko you want. And the New York Comic Con label doesn't really add much to that. Not to mention that, unfortunately, this year in 2017, there was a lot of Pop Funkos that came out, and there was a lot of better Pop Funkos. Perfect example is that if you had to choose, there was 2 8-bits that came out at GameStop. There was the Batman and there was the Shredder. from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The Shredder was more desired than the Batman because it was Shredder, and that was really never done before, and there hasn't been really a Shredder Pop Funko, not to mention that it was 8-bit. And that's the problem, is that there's been other Batmans out there. And so it's just the fact that you have something that's different. The fact that, like, the eyes aren't the typical circle eyes that most Pop Funkos have, and they're actually white like squares, is very cool. The fact that, you got that blocky feel to it is way cool. You could tell that this is not, the traditional feel just by looking at some of the features, and I'm going to show you that for everybody who can see. But again, it's just that there's so much Batman stuff out there in the Pop Funko space. And then you get into things like you could argue that there's extensions of Batman. I mean, the Batman Beyond Pop Funko is wicked cool, and it's not an exclusive, but you put that next to this, and it makes this a hard sell. And I think that's something to pay attention with DC. And also the 8-bit concept, while it's cool, it's retro, I'm 25, maybe for somebody a bit younger, maybe a 16 or 15 or 16-year-old, they don't get it. And the 8-bit line is a bit of a harder sell in that regards, but they just might not get it, and it might just have a smaller audience. And so that's something to look at. But everybody wanted it in that line. Now I was like the 4th person on line in 2017 for it, and it just wasn't wanted. And so it was wanted, but it just isn't worth much. And it's a weird one, and it's what you would call a high flyer, where this one could have easily taken off and be worth $30 or $40. Going back to episode 1, the Snape, I had a pretty good feeling that thing was going to be worth maybe $25, $30, in 3 years. I didn't expect it to be worth, what it's worth right now. And so that's something that I thought this would be worth at least in that range. I thought it would double by now. And the fact that it's at $11 kind of shows that the market is unpredictable with these things, and that some of them just go skyrocketing in estimated value. And again, estimated value is not what it'll be sold for. It could very well sell for $20. That could very well happen, and I'm sure it has. It could also sell for $5. And so, but it's estimated to be worth $11. And again, I'm getting these numbers because I know I'm going to be challenged on these numbers at some point from Pop Funko Price Guide, and I'm getting these numbers on October 16th, 17th, and 18th, in that range. So that's where I'm getting my numbers from. These aren't my numbers. What is mine is what I'm thinking about this and why. And I've been in this space, and I've seen trends, and I just think it's the concept at the time was new, and it hadn't been really done that much. And then you had another 8-bit, so if you had to choose between the two 8-bits, one of them was a lot cooler because there really was never a Pop Funko Shredder from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles before. They were a lot scarcer in GameStop. GameStop had like 5 of these. They had 2 Shredders. So that's something to also keep in mind. And then on top of that, there's just so much Batman Pop Funkos out there that, do you really want the 8-bit Batman, or do you want the Batman Beyond, or do you want the more exclusive, Kryptonite, Superman Batman pack that looks cooler, that glows in the dark neon green type of situation? And so that's my thoughts on this one and why it's only worth $11, because, at the end of the day, it's a bit of a harder sell. And that's something to keep in mind, is that, but it could have very well went the other way, where everybody could have wanted this, everybody could have really wanted the desire for it, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this thing just takes off like, a rocket ship. And I just think that that's what it is, and it's unfortunate that it's worth $11, because I think this one, going back to episode 2, is a lot cooler than the Sailor V. And I think this one has a lot more potential. And the fact that it's worth less, I just think is weird, and I understand why. But at the same time, I just think it's really just a bit of a crime, because this is really a unique concept. It's really cool, and I think it's just a nice display. And I think it's just something that's so different than the Sailor V. And I love my Sailor V, but I just think this is different. I think that this is a different piece in a collection. I think it stands out when you look at a wall. I think this is one of those ones that kind of stands out, because all the rest of them, especially if you only have one or two 8-bit ones in your collection, this thing stands out, and it's kind of nice. I mean, I've seen other people's collections, and I noticed the different ones first, versus the other ones that all look the same, especially when somebody has a bunch from the same series, because they start blending together. And this isn't like the others that I have in my collection. It's very, very different. And so that's something that I think adds value, but it obviously doesn't really affect the estimated overall value of it. So that's my entire opinion. I hope that gives more insight into what I have, what to look for. And obviously, as I'm building all these, I mean, we're going on a quest here of about 100 videos in this space. And I'm hoping in the 100+ videos that I'm planning to do in the next 6 to a year's time, what I'm really hoping is that it gives a lot of insight into price and my journey and how I'm viewing it and what things are worth, why they're worth that, what I think they're worth, what I've seen. And that's the goal here. There's not affiliate links early on in this stuff. I don't know if there ever will be. There's some of my stuff like my Instagram, my Twitter, my Facebook, because that's how, if you like what I do, that's probably the best way how to support this and communicate with me. Also, you can communicate just in the comment sections down below on all this stuff, because I think it's really fun, and I think that it's a really good thing where this is meant to be so that everybody engages with one another and that everybody shares information, because I think that it's up to us in this space, and I'm making it a personal goal, is that I know a lot about comic books, I know a lot about Pop Funkos, I know a lot about collecting, and if I can share my knowledge with people, and a lot of people know things, but a lot of people don't, about this stuff, and if I can share that, and then you can go get more knowledge, you can make better choices, better educated choices, and you can spend your money more wisely when you go hunt down Pop Funkos, or you pick up, and you can learn that something like a Harry Potter Pop Funko goes one way, something like the Sailor V, which was episode 2, goes a way, and this goes a very different way, and you can pick up that knowledge and just bring it forward, so that when you go out and you're waiting in line for an hour in front of GameStop, you know what to seek and what to buy and what could happen and what can happen, and how to really base your choices and what to look for in Pop Funkos, as well as what to understand if you're buying things on eBay, or you're selling things on eBay, or you're trading for things, so you don't get burned, or you're at a con picking something up and something seems that it's priced a little bit wonky. You have an idea of what you're getting yourself into. And that's the whole point of this. So, again, I'm just going to do a quick rundown through my Twitter and all my social media, starting with Twitter. It's Pop Anime Comics is the Twitter. Instagram is Pop Anime Comics. Facebook is Pop Anime Comics. The website is popanimecomics.com. Write about articles and articles about comics and anime. Podcast is Pop Anime Comics Lounge. It's on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher Radio, and a lot of other directories. So please check all that stuff out. It's always appreciated. And sometimes I'm not on all that often because, well, when a bat symbol goes outside of my window, I gotta spring into action. But I go in 16 bits, everybody. So just keep that in mind. 16 bits, he's not joining me. So unfortunately, he can only do half the job in 8 bits. Anyway, till next time, everybody, have a wonderful day, week, whenever you see my next video. And I really do hope these things help, because that is the objective of what I am trying to accomplish here, given that I understand a lot about this business and everything else. So please let me know in the comment section down below if I'm helping you and what Pop Funkos you want me to talk about and what you want me to break down, because I'm going to continue making episodes, and guarantee you that if you list 10 Pop Funkos, I probably have something in my collection or something very close in my collection that I could talk about. So thank you again for watching, and it's always appreciated.